Welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. I'm Emily, and with me is Nick. Today, we're going to dive into a problem that so many English learners face. You can read books, articles, and even subtitles with no problem, but when you listen to native speakers talking, it suddenly feels like a completely different language.
Yes, and that's such a common frustration. Learners tell us all the time, I understand English when I read, but when people actually speak, it's too fast, it's blurry, and I only catch a few words. If that sounds like you, don't worry, you're definitely not alone.
Right, and here's why this happens. Reading and listening are two very different skills. When you read, you have time. You can pause, go back, and check the meaning of words. But when you listen, you can't stop the speaker. The words flow together, accents change how they sound, and sometimes whole syllables disappear.
Exactly. For example, when you read, "What do you want to do?" it looks clear. But when a native speaker says it, it often becomes, "What do you wanna do?" If you're expecting each word to sound like the dictionary version, you'll feel lost.
And that's one of the biggest reasons learners struggle: connected speech. Native speakers naturally connect words, reduce sounds, and use contractions all the time. Textbooks usually don't teach that.
Another factor is vocabulary in real-life contexts. When you read, you see the formal version of English. But in conversation, you hear slang, idioms, and casual phrases that you might not find in books. So your brain is trained to understand one version of English, but then it hears another version in real life.
Exactly, and on top of that, speed plays a role. When you read, you control the pace. But native speakers can speak 150 to 200 words per minute, often with background noise, accents, and emotions in their voice. That makes it much harder for learners to keep up.
So today, we're going to unpack all these reasons in detail, and more importantly, share some strategies you can use to train your ears, bridge that gap between reading and listening, and finally start understanding native speakers with confidence.
Let's start with listening to real English, not just classroom English. Many learners spend most of their time with textbooks or slowed-down listening exercises. Those can be helpful at the beginning, but they don't prepare you for the reality of spoken English. If you want to train your ears, you need to listen to authentic materials, TV shows, podcasts, YouTube videos, interviews, even casual conversations between friends.
And the key is, don't try to understand everything at once. If you turn on a podcast and understand only 40%, that's fine. Your brain is still working. It's learning to recognize rhythm, intonation, and common sound patterns. Over time, your percentage of understanding will naturally grow.
Yes. I always tell students to think of listening like going to the gym. The first time you lift weights, it feels impossible. But if you keep training, your muscles adapt. The same thing happens with your brain when you practice listening. You might feel lost at first, but with daily practice, your ears get stronger.
Another tip is shadowing, repeating what you hear immediately after the speaker. Even if you don't understand every word, try to copy the sounds, the rhythm, the intonation. This helps your mouth and your ears work together. You'll start to notice how native speakers actually reduce or blend words.
And don't forget repetition. If you watch a scene from a movie once, you might only catch a little. But if you watch it 3, 4, 5 times, suddenly new words and patterns jump out at you. Your brain needs repeated exposure to really absorb the sounds.
Right. It's like training your brain to fill in the gaps. At first, you might hear "what you're doing" and feel confused. But after hearing it multiple times in different contexts, your brain will automatically link it to "what are you doing" without you needing to translate.
I also think it helps to use subtitles strategically. Watch once with subtitles to get the meaning, then watch again without them to focus on the sounds. This way, you're not just reading, you're really connecting the spoken words to what you already know.
And let's not forget the emotional side. Many learners panic when they don't understand every single word. That stress actually blocks comprehension. So part of improving listening is learning to relax. Focus on the overall message, not perfection.
That's such an important point. Even native speakers don't catch 100% of everything in fast conversations. We often use context clues, body language, and tone to understand. Learners should give themselves permission to miss a few words and still get the main idea.
Let's give a real-life example. Imagine you're on the bus and two people are talking quickly in English. You probably won't catch every single word, but you might notice key words like work, meeting, late. That's enough to guess the topic. If you train yourself to focus on keywords instead of full sentences, you'll feel less frustrated and more confident.
Exactly. And another trick is what I call listening in layers. First, listen for the emotion. Is the person angry, happy, relaxed, stressed? Then, listen for the main topic. Finally, listen for details. You don't need to do all three at once, just build up step by step.
I love that. And actually, you can practice anywhere. Put on English music and don't just enjoy the melody, pay attention to how the words flow. Or when you watch a TV series, pick one character and focus only on their speech patterns. It's like training your ear to one accent at a time.
Yes, and speaking of accents, that's another reason listening feels hard. You might learn from one teacher or one audiobook, but then when you hear someone from Scotland, Australia, or even New York, it feels completely different. So exposing yourself to a mix of accents is really helpful.
And you don't have to understand every accent perfectly. The goal is just to get used to variety so you don't freeze when someone speaks differently from your teacher. It's about building flexibility in your listening.
That's why short, daily listening practice is better than one long session. Even 10 minutes every day will train your ears more effectively than 1 hour once a week. Consistency really does matter.
And one more thing, don't just listen passively. Try to interact with what you hear. Pause the video, repeat the sentence, even write it down. The more you engage, the more your brain remembers.
Right? Listening is not a passive skill. It's active training. The more you involve your mouth, your memory, and your focus, the faster you'll improve.
Let's dive into some practical exercises then. One of my favorites is the pause and repeat method. You take a short clip, maybe 15 seconds from a YouTube video, and listen once without stopping. Then you go back, pause after every sentence, and try to repeat exactly what you hear. It forces your brain to connect sound to speech, and over time, it really sharpens your listening.
That's a great one. I also like the shadowing with subtitles exercise. First, you listen with subtitles in English and follow along. Then you play the same part again, but this time turn off the subtitles and shadow only with your ears. At first, it feels tough, but your ears start noticing the natural rhythm and intonation much more clearly.
And if you want something even simpler, try predictive listening. When you're watching a series, pause after a character says half a sentence and try to guess how they'll finish it. Like if someone says, "I can't believe you," you might guess, "did that, said that, or went there." Even if you're wrong, it keeps your brain active instead of just receiving words passively.
I love that idea, because it makes listening a kind of game. And speaking of games, listening to podcasts at double speed and then going back to normal speed can also be really powerful. When you hear it faster, your brain gets stressed but adapts. Then when you return to normal speed, everything feels clearer.
That's so true. It's like training with extra weight at the gym, then when you remove it, you feel lighter. And here's another small tip, don't worry if you miss words. Even native speakers don't catch 100% of what they hear, especially in noisy places. The real skill is understanding enough to follow the meaning, not perfection.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes, just repeating the same audio every day for a week works wonders. The first day, you understand maybe 30%. By the 7th day, you'll be surprised how much your ears have picked up naturally.
That repetition builds familiarity, and familiarity builds confidence. And once you're confident, listening stops feeling like a stressful test and starts feeling like part of life.
Let's bring this into daily life, because listening practice doesn't need to feel like homework. If you're commuting, for example, instead of scrolling social media in your own language, try listening to an English podcast, or even an audiobook. You don't need to understand every word. Just let the rhythm of English flow into your ears during that idle time.
Yes, and if you're cooking or cleaning, you can turn on the radio or background English YouTube channels. It creates what I call passive exposure. Even if you're not fully focused, your ears still pick up common sentence patterns, pronunciation, and the natural speed of speech. Later, when you hear those phrases again in conversation, they'll feel familiar.
Another daily trick is to choose one short English video and make it your companion video for a week. Maybe it's a funny clip or an inspiring speech. Play it every morning or evening, repeat along with it, and notice how much more you catch by the 3rd or 4th day. It's like training your ears to recognize the same sounds over and over until they become clear.
That's brilliant, and it doesn't need to take hours. Even 5 minutes a day is enough. What matters is consistency. And here's one more technique: try micro-listening. That means taking a single sentence and listening 5 or 6 times. First for general meaning, then for stress and intonation, then for linking sounds, and finally try repeating it. It's amazing how many layers of English you start to notice.
And don't forget the fun side. Music can be an excellent teacher. Pick one English song you like, look up the lyrics, sing along, and then test yourself without looking. It's not just entertaining, it strengthens your memory of words and your awareness of pronunciation.
Right, and movies or TV shows are the same. The first time, watch with subtitles. The second time, switch them off. The third time, focus only on how people say things, not on what they say. You'll catch the tone, the pauses, and the way words connect, which is often more important than individual vocabulary.
And the best part is, you can do all of this while still living your normal life. You don't need to set aside hours. Just blend English listening into what you already do every day, and little by little, your ears will train themselves to catch more and more.
Another place you can sneak in listening practice is during exercise. If you go jogging or hit the gym, load up a playlist of English podcasts, motivational talks, or even short lessons. Because your body is active, your brain relaxes, and sometimes you'll find that you absorb the language even more naturally.
That's a great point. And at night, right before bed, you can listen to a short audio or story in English. Even if you fall asleep halfway, your brain is still hearing those sounds. Ending your day with English helps it feel like part of your life, not just a study subject.
And don't forget social activities. If you're gaming online, watching live streams, or joining online communities, you'll hear plenty of natural English. Even when it feels fast or messy, just being exposed helps you adjust.
Exactly. The key message here is this: you don't have to wait until you're good enough to understand everything. By blending English into daily life, whether you're cooking, commuting, exercising, or relaxing, you train your brain naturally, step by step.
So keep finding small opportunities, stay consistent, and trust the process. Your listening will improve, and you'll soon find that what once felt impossible starts to feel normal.
Thanks for joining us today on the British Accent Podcast. Keep practicing, and remember, every bit of listening counts.
We'll see you in the next episode.